I like to ride the middle, right the fence.
Good. Good afternoon. I'd like to call the meeting to order, June 26th special meeting, Santa Barbara County Air Pollution Control District. Will the clerk please call roll?
Director Lee,
Here.
Director Capps,
Here.
Director Hartman, Director Nelson, Director Lavanino,
Here.
Director Silva, Director Clark, Director Perotti,
Present.
Director Mosby,
Present.
Director Rouse, Director Patino, Director Brown,
Here.
and Chair Julian.
Here.
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. At this time, please stand with me and join the board in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first item of business is approval of minutes of May 15th, 2025. Is there any discussion?
I'll move the minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Will the clerk please call a roll?
Director Lee,
Aye.
Director Capps, Director Capps,
Aye, sorry about that. Had my mic off.
thank you. Director Lavanino,
Aye.
Director Perotti,
Abstain.
Director Mosby,
Aye.
Director Brown,
Aye.
and Chair Julian.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-1.
Okay, thank you. All right, next item is administrative items. Does any board member wish to pull any of these items? Seeing none, is there any public comment?
We received no public comment on the administrative agenda.
We'll entertain a motion and a second for the administrative item?
I'll move to approve. Second.
Will the clerk please take roll call?
Director Lee,
Aye.
Director Capps,
Aye.
Director Hartman,
Aye.
Director Lavanino,
Aye.
Director Perotti,
Aye.
Director Mosby,
Aye.
Director Director Brown,
Aye.
and Chair Julian.
Aye.
Motion passes
Motion
unanimously.
passes. We'll now go to Director's Report.
Good afternoon. I have a few items I'd like to bring to your attention. First off is a legislative update. I'll focus on one bill that's authored by Assemblymember Greg Hart and sponsored by CAPCOA, AB 471. It's the County Air Pollution Control District Board Member Compensation. If passed and signed by the governor, it would provide your board with the opportunity to consider compensation for all APCD board members for attending our meetings. It would take separate board action and a resolution in order to implement this provision locally. Compensation was secured last year for unified air boards such as South Coast AQMD through AB 2522. Last Wednesday, I went to Sacramento to join Assemblymember Hart and CAPCOA lobbyists to provide testimony in support of this bill. It passed the Senate Environmental Quality Committee in a 6-0 vote, and it will now move on to Senate Local Government Committee on July 16th. When I was up in Sacramento, I took the opportunity to meet with Senator Lamone and her staff, first to congratulate her on her new upcoming position, and also to highlight our budget needs and the importance of funds for the implementation of AB 617, the Community Air Protection Program. Other than the $81 million being transferred to CAL FIRE, the remainder of the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund will be addressed after the state's budget is approved and will be part of the Cap and Trade expenditure plan. CAPCOA continues to advocate for the use of cap and trade funds to be used on quantifiable emission reduction projects throughout the state, such as the Farmer Grant Program, AB 617, and the Wood Smoke Reduction Project. And the second item I want to bring to your attention is relating to the flyer before you. It's our electric off-road and landscape equipment demo event held on Wednesday, July 9th from 10 a.m. to 1 at Allen Hancock College up here in Santa Maria. This is the second year for the Air District to host this hands-on event. I encourage staff from your Public Works and Park and Rec to attend if they're available. Individuals will be able to speak with representatives from the manufacturing industry and operate the models on display. It's very interactive. It's also a great opportunity to talk to APCD staff about our upcoming Clean Air Grant Program, which will be launching soon with a tentative application window of July 28th through September 5th. In addition to participation from the neighboring air districts, Ventura and San Luis Obispo County, 3CE will also be there, and CARB, California Air Resources Board, is helping to promote this event on their website. The first 100 attendees will receive a free lunch ticket upon arrival, so definitely the early bird gets the worm. And that concludes my director's report.
Okay. Any comments from the board here in Santa Barbara? None? How about any public comments?
Chair Julia, members of the board, we did not receive any public comment on the director's report.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Janae. Public comment period, item F. Is there time for members of the public to speak on items that are not on the agenda? Do we have any requests to speak?
Chair Julian, we did not receive any speaker slips. I do see we have one attendee on Zoom, so if you would like to provide public comment, please click on the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. Seeing no raised hands, we did not receive any public comment.
Okay. Next item is discussion, item G1. Will the clerk please read that item into the record?
Discussion item G1, adoption of the fiscal year 2025-26 budget. Consider the fiscal year 2025-26 budget as follows. 1, hold a public hearing to consider and adopt the budget for fiscal year 2025-26 as presented in the fiscal year 2025-26 proposed budget document. And 2, adopt the following. 2A, budget resolution approving the fiscal year 2025-26 district budget. And 2B, salary resolution amending the classification and salary plan to adjust the salaries for all staff based on the collective bargaining agreement and the management personnel benefits resolution previously approved by your board on June 20th, 2024.
Is there any discussion by the board?
I have a brief presentation.
Please, I'm sorry.
That's
Go ahead.
okay, it's very brief.
All right.
I have basically 3 slides to walk through here. It's a condensed presentation on the minor changes that were made to the budget after it was presented to your board at the May hearing. I anticipate it taking less than 5 minutes. I'd like to note that to date, we have not received any public comment on our proposed budget. This slide, minor changes were made in between the May and the June hearing. The proposed budget is now $13,370,862, which is an overall 6% decrease from fiscal year 24-25. The May version showed a difference of 6.8% from last year. We continue to add here, so the district's operating budget remains the same at $9.5 million. We continue to adhere to the district's new fund balance policy and set aside $2 million for the purpose of this proposed budget. There's been no changing to staffing. We're at 34 full-time equivalent. This goes into a little bit more detail as far as the specific changes that were made to the May hearing. We received notification from CARB that our Carl Moyer State Reserve grant allocation has been finalized and the district is receiving more than originally anticipated. The May budget had $50,000. However, we had an increase of $76,552, bringing that program grand total to $126,552. In addition, the June version of the budget includes the recent updates your board made to the district's MOU side letters with our 2 bargaining groups and unrepresented staff based on negotiations that took place in spring. Salary and benefit changes include the 6% COLA, a tiered health insurance contribution approach for district contributions, and an increase to an employee's and increased to an employee's 457 account. The funds associated with negotiations were reallocated from a deposit in the May budget that was slated to go to the operational fund balance. Therefore, the salary and the benefits change had no effect on the overall total budget. Also included with negotiations was an additional revenue of $40,000 from the district's operating fund balance account to allow for an annual one-time vacation cash out option. This is based on the district's prior year, fiscal year 23-24 net income, and as outlined in the side letters. The total increase from the May to June proposed budget is $116,552, which is less than 1% of our overall budget. And that wraps up my presentation. Tina Aguilar, the APCD's Administrative Division Manager, and I are available to answer any questions you may have.
Do you have any discussion from the board here or the board members in Santa Barbara? Any public comment?
Chair Julian, we did not receive any public comment on this item.
Okay, can I please get a motion and a second on this item?
Move to approve the budget.
Hartman seconds.
Will clerk please take roll call?
Director Lee?
Aye.
Director Capps?
Aye.
Director Hartman?
Aye.
Director Lavanino?
Aye.
Director Perotti?
Aye.
Director Mosby?
Aye.
Director Aguilera Hernandez?
Aye.
Director Brown?
Aye.
And Chair Julian.
Aye.
Motion passes
Motion
unanimously.
passes. Thank you. Next item is discussion from item G2. Will the clerk please read that item into the record?
Discussion item G2, Clean Air Fund Program for Lompoc. Consider recommendations as follows. 1, receive and file a presentation on the Clean Air Fund Program for Lompoc. And 2, approve and authorize the district's air pollution control officer to implement projects utilizing the clean air funds not to exceed $325,000 within 5 years by entering into agreements with the City of Lompoc, the United Boys and Girls Club, Santa Barbara County, Lompoc Unit, the Lompoc Family YMCA, and the Lompoc Unified School District, subject to review and approval by District Council, Risk Management, and Auditor Controller, and to provide community engagement and outreach.
Okay, I guess Mr.
Yes, Jim Frederickson
is
will
here.
be
Okay, please.
providing a presentation. He's the supervisor of our planning division, and before he gets going, I just want to highlight the amount of work and focus Jim provided to the program that's before you today. He definitely took some interest in securing a strong presentation and a package for your consideration. I think he had 7 individual in-person meetings out in Lompoc and numerous calls, Zooms, and follow-up emails and texts. So
All right.
thank you, Jim.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, it's been an enjoyable process, and we've been able to build some really great relationships in the city of Lompoc. Good afternoon, Chair Julian, members of the board. Today, we're here to discuss our Clean Air Fund program for Lompoc that was funded through a $1.3 million penalty settlement for air quality violations by Central Coast Agriculture, a cannabis manufacturing facility in Lompoc. The settlement negotiation was finalized in June 2024, and it ensured that $325,000 would be dedicated to the district's Clean Air Fund. The district proposes to prioritize the Clean Air funds on several indoor air quality projects near the area where the air quality violations occurred and where sensitive groups such as children and seniors spend time in public places. Next. The Clean Air Fund program was established by your board in 2019. Since that time, your board has approved the use of Clean Air funds for 3 projects. In 2020, $100,000 was approved for the second cycle of our Landscape Equipment Electrification Fund, or LEAF program. In 2021, $300,000 was approved and an agreement executed as part of our California Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Project, also known as Cal EVIP. And in 2021, also $100,000 was approved to establish and implement the Clean Air Rooms pilot program. Next. Here's a map that outlines the city of Lompoc, which has been designated by the state as a low-income community. A low-income community is determined if median household income is at or below 80% of the statewide median household income. The remainder of the presentation will be concentrated on the lower portion
of Lompoc outlined in red. Next. We have aligned our Clean Air Fund program for Lompoc with the city's first environmental justice element that was adopted by the Lompoc City Council in December 2024. The environmental justice element specifically referenced the red outlined area as their community of focus and is comprised of 4 census tracts with a population of nearly 23,000 people, which is about 53% of the total population in the city of Lompoc. According to the California Communities Environmental Health Screening Tool, also known as the CalVirus Screen Model 4.0, the 4 census tracts share high levels of pollution exposure to pesticides and lead. The 4 census tracts also experience socioeconomic factors that include cardiovascular disease, low birth weight, housing burden, linguistic isolation, educational attainment, unemployment, and poverty. Next. Our goal for the $325,000 Clean Air Fund was to select projects that are within or near Lompoc's community of focus and or close to the Central Coast Agriculture Facility shown as a green box. We solicited and received project ideas directly from district board members and the Lompoc Valley Community Healthcare Organization. The projects that were selected are also at locations that benefit seniors and or children, such as schools, community centers, and recreation centers. These indoor air quality projects will benefit the community as clean air centers year-round, and especially from smoke impacts during periods of wildfires. The projects include the City of Lompoc's Dick DeWeese Community and Senior Center, a red box at the bottom. Just above that is a blue box, which is the Lompoc unit of the United Boys and Girls Club of Santa Barbara County. In the center is a dark pink box, which is the Lompoc Family YMCA. The yellow rectangle on the left is the Clarence Ruth Elementary School. The yellow rectangle on the right is Leonora Fillmore Elementary School. Both of those are part of the Lompoc Unified School District. 3 of the proposed projects will incorporate the use of high-efficiency air filtration in their heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems, or HVACs. Air filters are measured by the minimum efficiency reporting value, or MERV rating. The higher the MERV rating, the more effective the filter is at capturing particles. 2 of the proposed projects currently use MERV 8 rated filters that capture 70% of large dust and pollen particles, but do not effectively capture smaller particles or sufficiently protect public health from wildfire smoke impacts. We propose that the projects install MERV 13 rated filters because they are highly effective at removing airborne particles found in wildfire smoke without significantly restricting airflow, and they also capture 90% of large dust and pollen particles along with mold, bacteria, and viruses. Next. The Dick DeWeese Community and Senior Center opened in 2012 and provides the Lompoc residents with a 15,000 square foot place to gather for meetings and events. Approximately 500 seniors use the center per week for exercise classes, with another 500 adults using the center for dance classes, weddings, church services, and training courses. The Dick DeWeese Center would make an ideal location for a clean air center for the community to congregate during wildfire season when smoke impacts cause unhealthy air quality. The Dick DeWeese Center currently operates 10 HVAC systems with MERV 8 rated filters. We propose a $40,000 grant to upgrade the 10 HVACs and perform 320 MERV 13 air filter replacements over a 5-year agreement period. Next. Since 1971, the Lompoc Boys and Girls Club has provided a safe and supportive place for children through sports, recreation, art, and educational programs, and meal assistance. The Lompoc Boys and Girls Club does not have any HVAC systems, and their 2 current heaters installed in 1979 no longer work properly. The Lompoc Boys and Girls Club would make an ideal clean air center for children in the case of smoke impacts from a wildfire. We propose a $50,000 grant to install 2 new electric heat pump systems that are energy efficient and will provide both year-round heating and cooling. The new heat pumps would use MERV 13 rated air filters, and a total of 90 air filter replacements would occur over a 5-year agreement period. Next. The Lompoc Family YMCA started operation in 1981 and moved to its current location in 2006. The YMCA currently operates its 14,000 square foot facility as a clean air center during periods of natural disaster and provides free shelter, showers, food, and water. The YMCA has a current membership of more than 1,000 teens and 300 adults, averaging about 100 visits per day. The YMCA operates 5 HVAC systems that currently use MERV 8 rated filters. The district proposes a $20,000 grant to upgrade all HVACs to MERV 13 rating air filters, with a total of 300 air filters replaced over a 5-year agreement period. Next. This Clean Air Classrooms project is also focused on improving indoor air quality, but is approached from a different angle than the 3 Clean Air Center projects already discussed. The goal of this program is to incentivize schools to purchase and install formaldehyde-free composite wood furniture in their classrooms, which contains 99% less formaldehyde than pre-2009 manufactured furniture and is cleaner than what school districts traditionally purchase from furniture companies. The reduction of formaldehyde, which is used in glue to bind the composite wood furniture, will improve the health for children and teachers that are exposed all day to furniture made with formaldehyde and can off-gas in the classroom for many years. Short-term health effects of formaldehyde exposure can include irritation of the eyes, nose, throat, and skin, respiratory issues, nausea, and headaches. The Lompoc Unified School District was formed 60 years ago, and the proposed project is to replace the original 60-year-old composite wood furniture at both the Clarence Ruth and Leonora Fillmore elementary schools. The new classroom furniture would be made with ultra-low emitting formaldehyde glue. The Air District proposes a $200,000 grant to the school district to replace furniture in kindergarten, first grade, and second grade classrooms. This will immediately benefit approximately 400 students and teachers at both schools and provide long-lasting health benefits. The school district is also verbally committed to purchase ultra-low emitting formaldehyde composite wood furniture for all of its schools when they replace classroom furniture in the future. They have also agreed to partner with the Air District to promote the outcome of this Clean Air Classroom project to the public. Next. Overall, the district's goal is to enhance our relationships within the Lompoc community. We propose to work with external organizations and project partners on community outreach and engagement. Those partnerships will focus on enhancing awareness of Air District programs and resources, sharing where the public can get air quality information, help people better understand air quality data, and be prepared for wildfire smoke by learning how to create a clean air room. As future outreach events occur, they will be shared with you through the public outreach update board letter. One event example would be the August 1st Healthy Lompoc Night at the Old Town Market, sponsored by the Lompoc Valley Community Healthcare Organization and the Lompoc Valley Chamber of Commerce. The district proposes an outreach budget of $15,000. Next. This table provides a summary of all proposed Lompoc Clean Air Fund projects with the estimated costs. If any Clean Air Fund projects for Lompoc are not fully implemented, this will result in the redistribution of funds to other approved projects. The total expenditure for all projects combined is not to exceed $325,000. Next. Here's our recommendation to the board. As a reminder, all agreements developed with the 4 project partners in Lompoc would be subject to review and approval by District Council, Risk Management, and the Auditor Controller. This concludes my presentation. I'm available to answer questions and respond to comments.
Thank you. Any comments from directors here in Santa Maria?
Question.
Your
Go ahead.
your footprint of the area in red,
Community of focus.
community of focus, or sensitive receptors locations, that's 2 of the 5 are outside that box. Why?
Yeah. Well, as I
Why-
mentioned, Board Member Brown, we're also looking at what's near the Central Coast Agriculture Facility. So it is like the closest school to the Central Coast Agriculture Facility. So that was where the air violations occurred at the green box. So we're looking at, and same with the Dick Dewey Center, that's outside the community of focus, but it is also nearby the Central Coast Agriculture Facility.
My other question was the furniture for the school.
Yes.
It's the glue, the formaldehyde in the glue of
Yes.
the product. What's the life expectancy for this furniture? The new furniture. Does glue add to the life? Is it less than what was there before? What's the life expectancy for or depreciation?
Yeah, so I think
Offset
what you're
for-
asking is how long does that
off-gassing? Yeah, what's there's been there for 60 years.
Yeah. So generally, I mean, it varies depending on what research you review online. From what I've seen, it depends actually on the type of the furniture, if it's the type of board that is, if it's medium or light duty board or particle board. But in general, it can last maybe up to 10 years.
I think he's talking about the actual furniture itself is what I heard.
Yeah,
Well,
concerned.
but he's saying
the
10.
Lompoc schools have, right now, they have 60-year-old furniture in there.
Yeah.
So they do last a while. The off-gassing would have occurred just, for a much shorter duration.
And I don't think we know the longevity of the new furniture with the low formaldehyde.
But there's no other issues with, I mean, just the fact that it's old, but it's the gases that are being produced by it now.
Yeah, they're long gone.
Those gases are long
Yeah,
gone.
long gone. Yeah, that may have disappeared 50 years ago.
Okay.
something,
So it's not an issue, it's not a risk at this, for this class or going
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah, there is some confusion on this type of program. Another air district has done this, and their board had a lot of questions about it. And essentially, the goal is when the school districts replace their old, say that 60-year-old furniture, they're going to replace it with the ultra clean furniture that's available instead of what they traditionally purchase, which does contain formaldehyde. So furniture that traditionally is purchased does have formaldehyde, much lower than what it was, say, 60 years ago, but it's still not the cleanest available. So what we're trying to do is incentivize to get that increment even like the most clean possible, basically, so there's no formaldehyde in it at all,
Okay.
no exposure.
Then, I'm sorry, Jim, my final question was, the total award was over $1.2 million, is that what I understood, or
1.3 million.
1.3? And your cost here is 325,000?
Yes.
And the balance is for later or for other expenses? But
We allocated the remainder fund in this existing fiscal year budget, 24-25, because it coincided right when we were going between our May and our June hearing. So we allocated a lot of that to our fund balance account to secure the level that the board wanted to reach in our fund balance policy. And during that board meeting, we actually specified $325,000 going for the Community Air Fund project.
okay, does Lompoc have the ability to go after the additional funds, or is that?
No, those
depending
are
upon their
within the
person-
district's
those are within
operating
the-
fund balance currently.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Mayor Mosby?
Well, thank you, guys. I was part of your investigation report. One of the things, the Anderson Rec Center, which is kind of in the middle, if you guys happen to, if one of the people don't use some of that money or something like that, then we might look at that one because it's just to the south of the Boys and Girls Club, Anderson Recreation Center. I think some of these groups are definitely going to be happy having the Boys and Girls Club getting heat. That's a big move.
Yeah.
Upgrade, right? And we know from LA Times articles from years ago how the bronchitis issues that are going around and stuff, and hopefully moving forward with this, we can help a lot of people to get out of that. Another thing to add with the community center, Dick DeWeese Community Center, is Lompoc's FEMA triage facility as well. So, I mean, that's a big bonus as well, should there be that fire incident stuff, to have that out there. So thank you guys for your analytics, and I'm sure the school's going to be happy. My name's probably still on some of that furniture from 50 or 60 years ago, and I used to say, I reminisce going back there the other day, and it's like, man, I fit in that chair? There's no way I could fit in that chair. Didn't even try, but yeah, it's amazing some of that stuff is still around, you know? Thank you, guys.
On the Anderson Rec Center, that's actually where we were able to work with them to secure a clean air grant fund from CAPCOA. And so that's being installed currently to have the filtration needs implemented. So
We couldn't do anything else anyway.
I know.
Good job.
Any further comments from the board here in Santa Maria? Please.
Well, I'm, like I'm sure Mayor Mosby, delighted to see these funds go to Lompoc. At first, I wasn't clear on the added benefit from the filtration, but it's filtering out smaller particles, making the air even better. So I'm happy with all the projects that you've chosen and the reasons you give for it. I just wanted to encourage you, I think you're already working with the Fire Safe Council that's working on a community wildfire protection plan for the greater area, and also the CEC grant that's Guadalupe and Lompoc. So just as you work on the community engagement piece, those are two that are really important and right down our alley.
Yeah, and when we were talking internally about this program, we didn't have any component built in specifically for community engagement, and based on feedback we received from organizations in Lompoc, it was highly recommended that it wasn't just awarding funds to projects, but also having some commitment to the actual community engagement and forming long-term relationships on who we are as an agency, what resources and programs we can provide, and how to become more engaged in everything the district has to offer. So that's why we intentionally included a community engagement component.
So do we have the air monitors at schools in Lompoc?
We have a few Purple Air, but within the administrative agenda, we are securing over 100 more that will be going to all schools countywide. So this is definitely going to be an area we want to make sure all the schools throughout Lompoc have the Purple Airs, and are also scheduling our clean air ambassadors to go into the K through third grades so they can learn more about air quality, the Purple Airs. That's even a lesson plan that they recently developed, and then they'll be able to see current conditions, and they can let their families know where to get that information as well.
Exciting, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any comments from the directors in Santa Barbara?
I just want to say I'm happy to see Mayor Mosby so happy and grateful. So,
Yeah. Is there any public comment?
We did not receive any public comment on this item.
Okay, can I get please get a motion and a second on the recommendations?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Will the clerk please call roll?
Director Lee?
aye.
Director Capps?
Aye.
Director Hartman?
Aye.
Director Lavanino?
Aye.
Director Perotti?
Aye.
Director Mosby?
Aye.
Director Aguilera Hernandez?
Aye.
Director Brown?
Aye.
And Chair Julian.
Aye.
That motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Jim, for that. Next item is discussion for item G3. Will the clerk please read the item into the record?
Discussion item G3, update on the vessel speed reduction program. Receive and file a presentation on the vessel speed reduction program.
Our last presentation for today will be provided by Alex Economou, our Planning Division Manager, who has taken significant ownership of this program and fostered key relations with all the members of this collaborative program, especially as it relates to Assembly Bill 14, which he'll be mentioning in his presentation. He has been very effective and successful at securing letters of support at all phases that this bill is working through the legislative session this year.
All right. Well, good afternoon, Chair Julian and members of the board. As Aaron mentioned, I'm Alex Economou, and I'm here today to provide an update on the district's vessel speed reduction program. We also have Sean Hastings from the Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary in attendance at the Santa Barbara hearing room, and he'll be available to help answer any questions about.
Alex, sorry to interrupt. He's actually not in Santa Barbara.
Okay. Well, I'll do my best then to answer any questions about whales, or we'll get back to the board.
Okay. Okay.
All right, next slide. So each year, thousands of vessels pass through the Santa Barbara Channel region, traveling to and from the ports of LA, Long Beach, and Port Hueneme. With over 100 miles of coastline in Santa Barbara County, the emissions from these ships can blow onshore and impact our local communities. These ocean-going vessels represent the largest source of ozone precursor emissions in the region and currently account for about 43% of these emissions countywide. While these ships are outside of the district's regulatory control, district staff have been actively tracking marine shipping emissions and advocating for additional federal and international regulations for the past 3 decades. In our draft 2025 ozone plan, which will be presented to your board later this year, We will include an updated emission inventory and growth projections for the marine shipping sector. Federal and international regulations currently require that newly built ships use emission controls on their engines, but it will take another 10 plus years to phase out most of the older, dirtier engines. Next slide. So since the district doesn't have the ability to directly regulate ocean-going vessels, we've helped to develop a voluntary vessel speed reduction program off the California coast, and it's called the Protecting Blue Whales and Blue Skies program. The program was created as a partnership for cleaner air, safer whales, and quieter oceans. And the partners include the air districts from Santa Barbara, Ventura, San Luis Obispo, as well as Monterey Bay and the Bay Area, and also national marine sanctuaries, many nonprofits, and foundations. The program asks shipping companies to voluntarily slow their ships down to 10 knots or less, which reduces air pollution emissions, as well as the risk of fatal ship strikes on whales and ocean noise. The Blue Whales and Blue Skies program has grown year after year after a small-scale pilot in 2014, and we recently celebrated the 10th anniversary of the program this past season. Next slide. The program is seasonal and runs from May through December, which is the time period that we typically measure high levels of ozone and when whales are present off the California coast. The program has historically been focused on container ships and auto carriers, but has expanded in the past couple of years to also include bulk and general cargo vessels, as well as tankers. We evaluate the cooperation levels of the companies using their onboard tracking systems and score them based on their total fleet distance that is traveled at 10 knots or less. As you can see on the table, we have 3 levels of recognition awards: Sapphire, Gold, and Blue Sky. Next. For last year's program, we asked the companies to slow down in the large green areas shown on the screen. These zones encompass the San Francisco and Monterey Bay regions on the left and the Southern California region on the right. Next. "49 different companies participated in the program last year, operating 743 vessels that slowed down for over 425,000 nautical miles. The graphic on the left shows the companies that participated in the 2024 program and their award levels. Last season, 23 companies achieved the highest cooperation level and received the Sapphire Award, and that's an increase of 10 companies receiving the highest award from the previous year. The participating companies during the 2024 season accounted for 78% of all container ship traffic and 97% of all auto carrier traffic that passes through the region. Next slide. The table on the slide is also included in your board packet as Attachment A and shows the tremendous growth of the program over the last 10 years. The 2024 results show that the 10th anniversary of Blue Whales and Blue Skies was the highest performing season to date, with 85% of the vessel traffic from the participating companies slowing down to 10 knots or less. And the program continues to see improved cooperation rates each year, as shown in the table. The 49 participating companies reduced their smog-forming NOx emissions by over 1,400 tons last year, which is a 27% reduction in pollution compared to baseline conditions. And for comparison, that amount of emission reductions is equivalent to converting 1.1 million passenger vehicles to zero emission for a single year. Next. The 2024 program continued to focus on positive recognition and marketing for the participating companies instead of providing financial incentives. Outreach for the 2024 program included various news releases issued by the partners, as well as social media posts, a program fact sheet, and various articles and advertisements in trade and business journals. The picture on the left of the slide is from the award ceremony for the 2024 program, which was held this past April at Alta Sea at the Port of Los Angeles, and our director, Aaron, helped MC that event. Since 2022, the program has also maintained a brand ambassador component, which is open to any company that ships with one or more of the VSR program participants. To date, 23 companies in the Port of Hueneme have become brand ambassadors for the program, as shown on the slide. All right, next. The 2025 Blue Whales and Blue Skies program launched on May 1st and will run through the end of December. This year's program is similar to prior years except for two main changes. The first change is the vessel speed reduction zone has expanded to include the recently designated Chumash Heritage National Marine Sanctuary. And the second key change is that the cooperation rates that companies need to achieve to meet the award tiers have increased. The highest tier Sapphire award now starts at 90% instead of 85% cooperation. Next slide. Related to vessel speed reduction, we wanted to update your board on AB 14, which was introduced in December 2024 by Assemblymember Greg Hart. This bill would build upon the existing Blue Whales and Blue Skies program and would expand the voluntary vessel speed reduction program statewide along the entire California coast. The bill has unanimously passed through the State Assembly with bipartisan support and is currently in the Senate, where it is unanimously passed through the Senate Natural Resources and Water Committee and has been referred to the Senate Environmental Quality Committee on July 2nd. And pictured on the slide is Assemblymember Hart's press conference for the previous iteration of this bill that took place at Santa Barbara City College. Next slide. So as we wrap up, I'm very excited to present a whale tail trophy to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the Protecting Blue Whales and Blue Skies program and to acknowledge our board's support for this program over the last 10 years since its inception in 2014. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions that your board may have, and then once we adjourn the meeting, we'd like to ask that the board members in this room stick around for a quick photo op with the trophy. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion from the board here, board members here in Santa Maria? Sir?
Alex, I had a quick question. What is the average speed of the ships going through the channel?
Yeah, so it depends on the type of ship, whether it's container ship or auto carrier. We've seen for some of these types of ships, it's higher, like 23, 24 knots. For other types of ships, it's lower, 16, 17, 18 knots. And so, over the past couple of years, as we've been able to increase, the cooperation rates, we've gotten more and more of those ships to slow down to 10 knots or less. But that's not information that's provided in the board packet, but we'd be happy to follow up with the averages. And the program website includes
just
a methodology.
Curiosity, really, as to what they typically go through at. So thank you.
Thank you. So I guess mine was really just a comment and maybe a question. So you've really kind of been upping, you've increased the percentage of companies, you've increased the geographic reach, you've kind of ratcheted up for the Sapphire Award. And what really caught my attention is now the companies who are shipping, you're reaching beyond just the transporters, but to those who contract with them. Could you talk more about how you're doing that?
Yeah, on the brand ambassador component. So this is an area that we began this in 2022, and it's really expanded, especially this last year. I think last June when I presented to the board, we had 8 brand ambassadors in the Port of Hueneme, and now this year we're up to 23. So it's really involved a lot of word of mouth in the community and making personal connections. I know one of our program partners likes to tell the story of how one of his kid played soccer with, so-and-so that worked at Sonos, and they were able to, engage and get, talking to the right people to make that connection. But yeah, it's really an aspect of word of mouth, and then also working with the shipping companies and, trying to spread awareness for this program we're trying to work in our region to get more folks aware of this program as well as the state legislation, because some people don't even realize that they're shipping on vessels that are going through our zone at 10 knots or less. So if they're already doing the work, you might as well give them recognition and help them spread the word.
So how does the APCD give them recognition, the ambassadors?
A couple different ways, lots of publicity and marketing and news releases from the partners. We had the big award ceremony down at the Port of LA back in April that recognized not only the brand ambassadors, but also the shipping companies, and presented them with trophies and PR and spreading it that way and through publications.
I really think that the AB 14, if and when, let's say when it's passed, will definitely help expand our ambassador program that much more. If you look at the list, there's a lot of Santa Barbara-based companies on that list, and we're where the program started.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot more local awareness of the program and the benefits, and the companies are more eager to jump on. But if it was a statewide program, we could really market large corporations that want to also demonstrate their commitment to environmental benefits for their entire chain and movement of their products. So I hope that once AB 14 is passed, we can put more of an emphasis on our brand ambassadors. And we've talked before about an image for this, the Blue Whales Blue Sky logo that you see on the whale tail, and it's been in this presentation, and the name itself is something that we're wanting to trademark so we can keep it for this, and then it's something that the ambassadors themselves can include on their website to promote the fact that they're also committed to this.
Well, you've done all of this, and we don't pay money anymore, right? So it's purely reputational benefit that's driving it.
Yeah, when we were winding down on the incentives to the ships, it became noticeable that the funding wasn't needed, because we would ask them if they'd be willing to provide the funding back to the organizers so we can carry it out one more year. And the majority of those companies were willing to do that. It was really about the recognition. And you got to go. I know you wanted to go to the ceremony, but next year I encourage, when we have a ceremony, the board members to be there, because to see the pride from the vessel operators themselves and how meaningful it is, and the ambassadors too. Sono was provided an award there. It's very inspiring.
Maybe when the bill passes, and you should, we can claim that this was our baby, and we can take a bus and have fun.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Very good idea.
10 miles an hour.
10 miles an hour. Okay.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yes, I have a question about, so on GHG reductions, so we're at like 50,000 tons. What's the overall, just refresh my memory, what's like the overall inventory of Santa Barbara County? What are we putting out?
So our agency does not inventory greenhouse gas emissions. We could follow up with that information.
I could find that in the climate action plan, I'm sure. It is, this program's just skyrocketed in success. And I think if you think about it, it's a really good lesson for all of us, is instead of fining and sending out NOVs, give people recognition to do the right thing, and most of them are going to do the right thing. So I think this is a really cool program. There was one other question I had, about the map that shows, so where it has the blue line that goes, and I don't know if this has ever been studied, if they're going on the outside of the Channel Islands or the inside. So sometimes I see ships coming on that side, on the inside. Does it matter much? Is that, because I see that that's not banned to go in there. You just can't go around the Channel Islands, but you still can come in and hug the coast. Is that ever discussed? Or does it make much difference environmentally if they're on the outside or the inside, GHG-wise? Or have we even studied that? Probably not.
So you're
what I
asking
mean?
The shipping lane hugging along the coast as opposed to going around
Yeah.
the channel? I believe that's the most...
That's the most traveled.
Yeah, most traveled path. And so, program partners have worked closely with aligning the shipping lanes, with the routes that are taken, as well as, trying to devise them in such a way that they're, impacting the environment, in the least possible way.
Last question is, so is that a net 50,000? Because if we're getting them to slow down, they're in the area longer, right? So just curious if that's a net 50,000, do we know? Or we say we're saving, the whales are great, and I appreciate that, but also from the air pollution control side, getting someone to slow down, they're in that geographical area longer. Are we getting the benefit that we think we're getting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're also saving on fuel costs too.
Mm-hmm. Right. But do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, like if you burn through here,
The benefits
putting
aren't
out-
solely for our county.
right.
That's for the entire green area where it's being operated, is where we're realizing all of those benefits, whether it relates to air pollution or well
Okay.
environment.
Just to clarify, so, if a car or a boat is idling, right, they're slow, so they get the credit, but are they polluting during that time longer? I think
Right.
that's the question.
Oh,
Because they're in that area, but they're idling, so they count because they're going less than 10 knots.
Yeah, so those vessels are operating at a speed that the net decrease in emissions is occurring
net.
throughout. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a net decrease.
So we're
they're
not count-
burning less fuel, which directly relates to less emissions.
So we're not counting if they're idling.
they aren't just parked.
Yeah.
They're moving.
They're moving the
Yeah.
entire time.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Yeah. And now with state law, when they are idling at the port, they have to be plugged in. That's a requirement. They have to be electrified at the ports, which is a challenge, just to provide the electricity to the ports.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we don't have any ports here for these type of vessels in Santa Barbara County.
Okay.
Any discussion from Santa Barbara Board?
I have one, Director Prodi. Thank you, Chair. First of all, I'd like to thank Alex for the great report. And over the years, I've been following this program, and I'm just so pleased to see it taking off the way it has. So I thank you all for all the work put into it. Thank you.
Any further comments from the Santa Barbara? Hearing none. Any public comment?
We received no public comment on this item.
Okay. This is a receive and file item, and no vote is necessary. So thank you, sir. Great station. So we'll go to announcements, or we want to?
I know it's going to go good to the end, so we might as well skip to the end.
Okay. Is there any announcements? Item H. This meeting will be rebroadcast on June 29th, 2025 at 5 p.m. on County of Santa Barbara Channel TV, Channel 20. Is there, and we'll adjourn to Santa Barbara County APCD meeting to August 21st, 1 p.m. Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay.
If we could just stand right here for the.